if you had looked out to your east, out the right side windows, you might have seen some dust trails, because right behind this mountain, there are about 5,000 soldiers who began an attack late last night that went through the night and continued into this morning. They now have a battalion consisting of about 1,000 soldiers just right over that hill, another battalion of about 1,000 soldiers just on another hill about 4 miles from here, and then they're passing through this morning a third battalion also of about 1,000 soldiers in the largest, most realistic replication of the battlefield environment anywhere on Earth. Opposing them is 2,200 of our own soldiers, who are the finest combined arms warriors in the world, in our view, because they fight out here every day.
Oh, wow.
We replicate that environment with a mixture. We have artillery, we have aviation, we have fixed wing, F-16s and Air Force jets that fly out here all the time. We have engineers, we have civil military folks, we got mayors, role players, everything. We replicate the battlefield environment here better than anywhere else in the world. The reason we built this facility 40 years ago was because we saw in the outcome of the Yom Kippur War in 1973 that warfare had become so lethal and so fast tempoed that the winner of the first fight was going to decide the outcome of the conflict. And we could no longer afford as a nation to learn in the first battle of war and then adjust like we had done in World War II, where we made an awful lot of mistakes at the very beginning of World War II. We learned over time and ultimately came out victorious. But we had to win the first battle. And so to do that, we had to make all the mistakes that untrained units make somewhere other than in the unforgiving reality crucible of combat. So we built this facility out in the middle of the Mojave Desert to create an environment where all those mistakes would happen, where any misstep, any poor planning would be punished by the reality of a very tough environment, just a tough place to fight, and a very talented enemy who's going to make you pay for any mistake. And so we've done that over 400 rotations conducted here so far, each about a month in length. We bring about 5,000 soldiers out here, and they fight really a 14-day campaign that's really continuous. So they're fighting the entire time. The brigade commander is determining the tempo of his fight, and it is a humbling experience. I came out here about 3 years ago as a brigade commander, and really found out every flaw in my organization, and I learned from that experience, and we grew tremendously during that 14-day campaign. The way we do this is we really have 3 pillars in our training here. The first is a professional observer controller team. So once you've commanded a infantry company or a tank company as a young captain, if you did really well, you might be selected by us to come out to the National Training Center to serve as one of our observer controllers. So we have 800 of these soldiers that range from the platoon level all the way up to a former brigade commander who runs our operations group. Their job is to partner with the unit from the day they get here, to teach them, to share with them the lessons learned they see out here, and then to serve kind of as the referees throughout the fight. The second pillar is that professional opposing force that I told you about. 2,200 soldiers, and all they do is fight in the desert. And you'll get to meet some of those great soldiers today. They are good, and they fight very, very well. And you will see this village right here, for example, they can defend with about 50 to 60 soldiers and hold a brigade that's trying to take it from them for a day and a half.
Wow.
They do that very, very well. They're very well trained fighters because they do it all the time. And then the third pillar is a world-class instrumentation system. So as that brigade was attacking last night, I was able to see the location of every vehicle, where it was, when it fired its weapon system. I could see who it shot at and who shot back at it. And we've got just a constellation of instrumentation throughout this area that allows us to track that. So what we can do is at the end of every battle, is we bring in the units all across the desert. And so we've got a facility, this is one of our AAR facilities. We've got others throughout the desert where we bring in the unit after the battle. We bring in those world-class coaches. We bring in the commander of the opposing force in that instrumentation system and say, okay, this is how the battle went. This is where you made some mistakes. And the OPFOR commander will get up and say, hey, you guys really surprised me here, but I saw an opportunity here and I was able to outflank you here. And we have great discussions about how to become better as warfighters. So that's what makes it a world-class training facility for us. We replicate the full spectrum of modern battlefield. And so in this village, we have 120 role players that range from Russian speakers to Eastern European to Middle Eastern, depending on the flavor of the effect we're looking for. We have a Department of State role players. We have the village mayors. We have council presidents, all that. So we want to replicate that full spectrum of fighting amongst a civilian population. We also have media out here as well. They'll come out and ask questions about some atrocity that is part of the storyline in the scenario, and really put pressure on our shoulders to be able to represent our country well as we execute violence on their behalf. And that's a really tough thing to do. We can replicate chemical weapons threats, so manufacturing capability. We replicate, I said, artillery, engineer effects, and then our long-range precision fires that we've seen more recently in Eastern Europe. We also, you'll get a chance to see today, our drone systems that we have out here as well. We recognize that's an emerging threat. The IEDs we all heard about in Afghanistan are still with us, except now they fly. And so that's a whole new set of threats that we've got to get units ready for, and we're investing a lot of time and effort in that. So that's what we do here at the National Training Center. But what makes it great, what makes us successful in this is the quality of soldiers that we have in our formation.
Yeah.
So the average American soldier is much more fit than the average American citizen. I know that's not saying a lot, but statistically, they are surprisingly, we just did a study on this, generally in the upper third in the kind of intelligence spectrum and performance. They're drawn from middle-class America, and they are some phenomenal young men and women.
Yeah.
What I wanted to make sure we preserve today, as your timeline was shifting, was the opportunity for you to sit down and have lunch with some of our soldiers, and I hope you'll engage with them. And these soldiers that we have having lunch with you today were not vetted for anything. We just said we need a certain number of soldiers to be out here because they will give you a candid and authentic view of what it's like to serve in the American military today. But I am incredibly proud of these young men and women. They make us proud every day. As we come out of a period of 20 years of war, all those great combat veterans are leaving our community and coming to your community.
Yep.
And I just ask you all to remember that, because they are some of the finest Americans I've ever met. I want to take a minute real quick and introduce a special guest we got with us today. We've got a great medical facility out here in the desert, a world-class hospital run by Colonel Nancy Parson. And we do an awful lot here to take care of our families and community out here. We've got about 4,000 soldiers who live here in the desert with us, and about 6,000 family members. And so taking care of that community is really important. Nancy.
All right.